What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Forever Flame Racing Reviews, and for the first time in 2025, we are doing a race review, and it is a race review for the 2025 St. Petersburg Grand Prix. We're just going to be, reviewing the race, reviewing how the teams did. I think right now I'm going to have some photos of drivers or cars on the grid from this weekend, or even team principals or team owners, so just, enjoy those little pop-ups. So we're just going to, talk about the weekend, talk about how I think Fox did, and talk about what drivers need to improve and what drivers don't. Let me pull my notes over real quick. It's on the back of an art thing I used to do. But that's besides the point. My notes are on the back of it. But we are going to be talking about Fox. Fox absolutely crushed it this weekend. I've turned it on at practice 1. I turned it on at practice 2. I watched all of qualifying, and I watched the race. I missed the warm-up, but they crushed it. They crushed it from the moment it was go, when they announced that they would be taking over IndyCar. But wow, it was incredible. I think honestly my favorite part was about the weekend was probably the intro to the race. You had a really, really, really cool intro, and then cut to our broadcast booth on a yacht. It was really cool. They had a lot of cool graphics. It really kind of looked like an F1 type-ish graphics, but at the same time it wasn't like a straight copy. It was really impressive to see. Fox absolutely killed it, and I hope it sits like that for a while. I also thought during the race they promoted Thermal Club like once or twice. If I was to make any like ticks on Fox, it would be that they needed to promote Thermal Club better. And also they didn't the ads were great how they did the split screen, but then twice at the end it was full ads where you couldn't see the race, which was dumb. They should have just kept split screening it. That was kind of weird, but overall it was a really good debut by Fox. Now let's go team by team, and then we'll discuss the race. Penske, they went 3-4 in a DNF. Will Power got caught up in the start of the race, but not much you can do. And then Scott McLaughlin from pole, he had a crash early on in the race weekend. Let's take a look at that. It's right there. He kind of just got loose and then hit the wall, and then he was able to recover and grab the pole. And then Joseph Newgarden just kind of P10 in qualifying and P3 in the race. Looked like he might be able to challenge Palou for the win there, but ultimately just never really, he got going this weekend, but he never really unleashed the dragon or anything like that. He just kind of ran a solid race, and I know Joseph has his eye on the championship, and that's exactly what he needed to do to kick off his championship campaign. Now let's talk about Ganassi, who started 1-2. Honda went 1-2. That's right. Alex Palou put on an Alex Palou performance. I'm ready to put Alex Palou on the level of an AJ Foyt and Scott Dixon. He's that good. I'm ready to put him there. 3-time champion. If he's going to go 3-0, what a way to start it off with a win, and his teammate Scott Dixon in second. Kevin Simpson, you kind of had the weekend he expected. He did good. He wasn't in the Fast 12, but he was close. And then in the race, he made strides. So I was honestly impressed by Kiffin. I think he made strides from last year, but his teammates just doing Dixon and Palou things. That was incredible. Andretti would have had a car that won the race if Colton Herta didn't have that pit issue. The back right didn't get on correctly, and that cost him 3 seconds. And then they didn't get fuel in the car on that pit stop, which I didn't know about. And then I guess he didn't know about right away, or they just didn't tell us right away, because then he had to pit 4 laps later to put more fuel in the car, which sucked, because he could have had the 3-4 second hiccup in the pits and still won the race. It just sucks, because Colton Herta would have probably led that last 20 laps in quite convincing fashion and won the race, but oh well. So that's racing. He ended up 16th today. And they also had Kyle Kirkwood, who ran 5th. He was kind of quiet all weekend, in the Fast 12. Did super well, but he just never, ever was a threat for the winner of the podium, but he just did his job and stayed quiet and got 5th. And same goes for Marcus Ericsson. Qualified 7th, finished 6th. Just solid weekend. Andretti should have had a car that won the race, and they were a very quiet but good weekend from them. And I could see Andretti one of their cars putting up a championship campaign this year. It was a quiet, good weekend from them. McLaren struggled. They really struggled this weekend. And I picked Pato O'Ward and Christian Lundgaard to go 1-2 with Palou third. That did not happen. Pato O'Ward qualified 23rd, had his issues all day. I think he ended up just outside the top 10. Nolan Siegel crashed in the first lap. It was not his fault, though. Will Power tagged him from the back, spun him into the wall, and he crashed with Will Power and also Louis Foster. So it wasn't his fault. That was a tough break for Nolan Siegel. And then also Christian Lundgaard, he led laps and showed a lot of speed, but was on the wrong strategy and ended up, I think, at the bottom of the top 10. But, just wasn't McLaren's day, but they did show a lot of potential, I think, on the Lundgaard side of things. But definitely Ward and Siegel will leave with scratching their heads. We're going to go Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan next. Louis Foster taken out in the first lap, but in practice and qualifying, I thought he was impressive, but I think he did all he could do. Graham Rahal, he ran at the front kind of in the beginning of the race, but went to the back at the bottom, and then Devlin DeFrancesco did a lap down, really did nothing all race. AJ Foyt, we'll go AJ Foyt next. They kind of were just nowhere all weekend. I said that they had 2 cars in the top 15. That's a good day, and they went 13 and 14. So, what can you do? They're not good on street circuits, honestly, so I thought it was an okay day from AJ Foyt, but it was Malukas 13, Santino 14, so nothing horrible, but it definitely could have been better for the AJ Foyt team. Meyer Shank, they went 3-4 in qualifying, and then Armstrong kind of just retired out of nowhere. He came into the pits, and then his wheel was loose. The TVs never showed us if it was his wheel that was loose or if he hit the wall, but he ultimately didn't finish, and Rosenquist was looking like he could have a podium, and then he kind of just fell off out of nowhere. So I think it's the same problem with Meyer Shank we saw last year. They're going to be super great in qualifying, but they're not going to race execute, which is disappointing that they have the same issues as last year, but I think that's what you're going to see from Meyer Shank just about every weekend. On it in qualifying, first 25% of the race, they're up there, and then they fall off. I just think that's kind of Meyer Shank, and I think that's just how they're going to be forever in IndyCar until proven otherwise. Ed Carpenter Racing got in the wrong strategy with Alexander Rossi. Christian Lundgaard was nowhere in the race. Practice 1, I thought that they were going to have a great weekend. They looked very strong in practice 1, and then they just did nothing the rest of the weekend, which was kind of disappointing. Dale Coyne, Rinus VeeKay in the top 10. That's a good weekend from him. Jacob Abel really struggled. That was expected. But I think they're they're a one-car show this year. Jacob Abel's going to struggle, and Rinus VeeKay is going to be getting the results. But that's kind of what I expected, so that's what I kind of expect all year from Dale Coyne. Juncos Hollander Racing, Stingray Robb held up a ton of guys at the end, including Alex Palou and Joseph Newgarden, who were fighting for the win. Looked like he was going to hold him up so bad that it was going to allow Newgarden to go by and get the win, but he didn't. Palou passed him, and he let the top 3 go. And then Conor Rayleigh had a really quiet weekend, but he was there, but made absolutely no noise in the race. I believe he was 17th or something like that. Just kind of a quiet day. And then Prema, they had Kyle Milot in the top 10, but that wasn't legit. They were the last 2 cars in the lead lap. Kind of what I expected. I didn't expect them to dominate. I think they're going to struggle this year. I think what you saw from them today is what you're going to see from them pretty much all year. So, with that being said, I think the only thing I would have liked to have seen from St. Pete this year is more crashes. It would have made it more entertaining for the first-time viewers, which hopefully we got a lot. I'm just praying that the TV number is good. I thought it was a great first weekend. Not much more you can ask for, honestly, besides more crashes. Great first weekend. Alex Palou's looking good. I still like my championship pick, Colton Herta, because he would have won if he didn't have his troubles today. But that's all I got to say. And thanks for watching, and see ya.